Welcome, everyone, to Astra the Exo Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Jessica Kurz.
And I am Xylo the Droid, thrilled to be interfacing with you all today.
Today, we're embarking on a really fascinating deep dive. We're looking into something truly fundamental for our future out there among the stars.
Indeed. The very spaces we'll inhabit.
Exactly. Forget just, getting there. We're talking about how we'll actually live.
We'll be exploring the emerging field of space architecture and habitat design.
Let's unpack this, because when you think about early spaceflight, it was all about survival, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
Function over comfort was the absolute priority. Reliability.
Getting the job done, surviving.
But that changes now.
It has to. Think about, say, 6-month journeys to Mars, or multi-year lunar outposts.
Or even those long-term orbital platforms lasting decades.
Exactly. With diverse crews living together for extended periods. That purely functional approach, it's just, well, it isn't enough for human well-being long-term.
So this is where architecture, like proper architecture, comes in.
Yes. Not just engineering.
Not just building things, but actually shaping the experience within those spaces. You mentioned form, flow.
And feeling. How a space feels. Architecture considers those cognitive needs we mentioned.
And the social dynamic, I suppose. People living cheek by jowl for months.
Definitely. And emotional stability.
And there are some really interesting habitat ideas being worked on now. Let's maybe start with orbital stations. They're changing quite a bit from the ISS model, right?
Oh, absolutely. You've got these new commercial platforms coming online like Axiom Station, Starlab, Orbital Reef.
And they're not just replacements for the International Space Station.
Not entirely. They're envisioned as mixed-use spaces for tourism, research, maybe even some manufacturing.
So that changes the design brief.
It really does. This shift is unlocking new possibilities, especially for microgravity research in fields like pharmaceuticals, materials science, things that are easier in these more accessible, adaptable environments.
So what does that look like? What kind of features are we seeing in these new designs?
Well, think panoramic viewing domes, huge windows, offering incredible views of Earth.
Which must be amazing psychologically, not just aesthetically.
Exactly. That connection, that perspective. Then there's sophisticated lighting, things like articulated systems that you can adjust.
It helps with sleep cycles, because there's no natural day-night up there.
Precisely. Supporting circadian rhythms, AI-assisted climate control for personalized comfort, too. And adaptable communal spaces, designed for work, but also relaxation, social interaction. They're really becoming these floating cultural centers, as some people are calling them.
That's a huge leap from the cramped utilitarian feel of earlier stations.
It really is, building on those lessons learned in orbit.
Okay, so building on that, let's talk about the moon. Lunar habitats. That sounds like a whole different ballgame.
It presents a unique set of challenges, yes, and opportunities.
So how do you build a long-term base on the moon? Especially, you hear about the South Pole, where there might be water ice.
It's a major focus. The designs are pretty innovative. We're seeing ideas like 3D printed shelters.
The regolith?
Exactly, using local resources. Or inflatable modules that you bury under the lunar soil.
For radiation protection.
Primarily, yes. Then there are concepts for hardened glass domes.
To get natural light in, while still being safe.
That's the idea. Interestingly, some research suggests even having simulated horizon lines inside could be important to help reduce feelings of disorientation in the moon's lower gravity. It's fascinating.
Shielding seems key, though. Radiation, micrometeorites.
Major concerns, yes. But you also touched on something important, that psychological connection.
Right. How do you balance the need for, a thick concrete bunker feel with needing to see out, to feel connected?
That's the architectural challenge. It's not just physical safety. It's providing some sense of normalcy, a connection to a sky, even if it's black and starry.
Allowing views, maybe incorporating elements that remind people of Earth.
Could be crucial for long-term mental well-being, absolutely.
Okay, so from the moon, the next giant leap is Mars. The ultimate test bed, maybe?
In many ways, yes. The challenges there are, well, even more extreme. Self-sufficiency becomes paramount.
When you say self-sufficient, what does that entail?
We're talking completely self-contained ecosystems, bioregenerative life support systems.
So recycling everything, air, water.
Everything. Complex symbiotic systems where waste from one process feeds another. A truly circular approach. Greenhouses for food will be essential. A heavy reliance on robotic construction, almost certainly. And habitats will likely need to be subsurface.
Underground, again for radiation.
Primarily, yes. Mars lacks a global magnetic field and has a thin atmosphere, so radiation is intense.
It sounds like designing these tiny, self-contained Earths almost. I think I read something about designs trying to mimic Earth forms.
It'll be the foundation for a new off-Earth society.
So the layout matters.
Immensely. Designs with courtyards for light and circulation, closed-loop systems for resource management, modular designs that can grow as the settlement expands.
It's about creating a livable community, not just a survival outpost.
Exactly. From the ground up.
Which brings us neatly to the psychology of it all, living in these places. It's not just the physical environment affecting the mind, is it?
No, it's absolutely critical. Think about it. Isolation, confinement, sensory monotony day after day.
And dealing with the same small group of people constantly.
Right. Complex group dynamics in very close quarters. These are significant psychological stressors.
So designers are working with psychologists now, neuroscientists.
Actively collaborating, yes, to figure out how design can mitigate these challenges.
What kind of design solutions are we talking about?
Several key areas. We mentioned smart lighting for circadian rhythms. It's huge.
Makes sense.
Providing adequate personal space and privacy. Even in microgravity, finding ways to carve out personal zones is vital.
Tricky in small spaces.
Very. Also, using flexible, reconfigurable interiors. Spaces that can adapt to different moods, maybe different cultural norms within the crew.
Oh, that's interesting. And I've heard about something called biophilic design. What's that about?
Right, biophilic design. It basically means connecting people inside buildings more closely to nature.
How do you do that in a metal can in space?
Good question. It could mean incorporating plants, using organic textures or materials, maybe even simulating Earth-like sounds, birdsong, rain.
To feel more grounded.
Exactly. To foster that sense of well-being, bring some familiar comforts of Earth into these, let's face it, alien environments.
Are they testing these ideas?
They are. NASA runs analog missions like High Seas in Hawaii or CHIPEA. ESA has Concordia Station in Antarctica. They study people in isolated, confined environments.
Gathering real data on how design impacts the human psyche.
Precisely. I remember reading about one early simulation where just the lack of natural light variations had a surprisingly big negative impact on mood. It really highlights how even small design choices matter.
It's amazing that architecture isn't just shelter. It's actually shaping the culture and identity of these future off-world communities.
It's quite profound when you think about it. As we design these new homes, we are, in effect, designing new societies.
Our choices about efficiency versus comfort.
Privacy versus community.
How we relate to whatever nature exists there.
All of it gets reflected in the architecture. It contributes to the unique cultures that will emerge off-Earth.
And we're already seeing some big-name architects getting involved.
We are. People like Barkingle's group, BIG, they co-designed Mars Dune Alpha for NASA's CHIPEA missions.
I've seen pictures of that, the 3D printed habitat.
Yes. And firms like Search plus Thea, they're developing these really interesting, almost organic-looking shelters for the Moon and Mars.
Biomorphic, they call them.
That's the term. And Icon, the construction tech company, they're pioneering the 3D printing methods that could actually build these things in space.
So these architects aren't just drawing pretty pictures.
Not at all. They're shaping the fabric of future space societies, thinking about spatial rituals, shared living norms. It's fascinating.
Which also opens up really interesting doors for commercial design, doesn't it? And brand integration. But hopefully more than just sticking logos everywhere.
Yes, please. It raises that important question. How can brands contribute meaningfully?
Right.
It's about integrating smart home tech, human-centric interfaces. Maybe AI that learns your preferences and adjusts the environment.
Like personalized lighting or soundscapes.
Exactly. Or advanced air filtration systems. Think about dealing with that fine lunar dust. Companies known for that on Earth could play a huge role. Or ambient panels that display calming scenes, maybe help manage stress.
And it's not just tech, is it? What about like furniture, materials, wellness?
Huge areas. Space demands innovation. Ultra-compact, multifunctional furniture is a must.
Everything needs to do double duty.
Or triple. So collaborations with modular furniture designers, smart textile companies, even fashion tech. Imagine clothing that monitors your vitals and adjusts habitat settings. And wellness, absolutely. Brands designing specialized meditation pods, maybe aromatherapy systems adapted for microgravity.
Nutritional programs, too, optimized for space conditions.
Certainly. It's a whole ecosystem of well-being.
It sounds like even cultural organizations could have a role, creating identity.
Imagine commissioning the first public art in orbit, or designing space-native artifacts.
Or even establishing rituals, like communal Earth viewing times.
Why not? It's all about contributing to what you might call the architecture of meaning, creating shared experiences, that sense of belonging far from home.
So, looking ahead, what's the outlook? This field sounds like it's really poised for growth.
The trajectory looks steep. If we connect this to the timelines, Axiom Station is aiming for deployment in the late 2020s.
Which opens up commercial leasing, right? For interior designers, researchers.
Correct. Then you got NASA's Artemis base camp on the moon targeted for the early 2030s. Contracts are already being awarded for components of that.
So the actual building or preparation for it is starting.
It is. And looking further out, some projections see the space construction market potentially exceeding $10 billion annually by 2040.
That's significant. And it's not just impacting space itself, is it? I think you mentioned VR tools earlier.
That's right. The virtual reality tools being developed to simulate and design these space interiors, they're finding applications back here.
How so?
They're being licensed to real estate developers, wellness companies, using space simulation tech to design better spaces on Earth.
So the innovations are flowing both ways.
Absolutely. Space architecture is already starting to reshape how we think about living environments everywhere.
So for our listeners, maybe those in marketing or anyone just fascinated by this, what are the key takeaways? What should we keep in mind?
I think the crucial thing is to, well, design stories, not just surfaces. Think about the human experience.
Celebrate the firsts.
Yes. The first kitchen in space, the first garden grown on Mars, the first shared meal in a new habitat. These are powerful human moments.
And link the aesthetics back to Earth values.
Definitely. Link space designed to things we value here. Care, creativity, adaptability. Show how these environments support human flourishing.
And collaboration seems key.
Absolutely vital. Collaborate across disciplines. Bring architects, cultural experts, wellness specialists, branding people together.
To create something holistic.
Exactly. Because ultimately, space architecture is about creating that sense of belonging, forging new identities, and really ushering in a new era for humanity. An era written in the light, the sound, the texture, the form of our off-world homes.
It's really clear that designing these future homes is about so much more than just, basic shelter.
So much more.
It's about fostering well-being, shaping culture, and like you said, even sparking innovations that benefit us right here on Earth.
Indeed. The principles we learn creating thriving environments in the harshness of space. They offer incredibly valuable insights for designing better living spaces for everyone, everywhere. If you enjoyed this exploration of space architecture, please do consider liking and subscribing to Astra the Exo Marketing Podcast for more illuminating discussions.
Stay tuned for our next episode, and remember,
The sky is no longer the limit.
it's just the launch pad.